Hi artists, art teacher Abby here, ready to make some art with you. Today we're going to make a fold-out winter scene from the Bloom Winter box. Let's get out our project card and see what all we need. For this project, we need 2 pieces of watercolor paper, white construction paper, our watercolor set, glue stick, salt, white crayon, and scissors. Let's get started. So in your pack, you should have gotten a long piece of construction paper. We'll need that in a little bit. And you should have 2 pieces of watercolor paper. One is skinnier than the other. So for now, we want the skinny one. So I'm gonna set the other one to the side. I'm using my skinny piece of paper, working vertically up and down. I'm gonna use my white crayon and I'm gonna just draw some winter scenery. Anything you want. It can be snowflakes, snowballs, trees, wind, swirls, stars, anything you want in the sky. So I'm gonna make some big swirls in my sky. Kind of see what that looks like. And some snowflakes. Maybe some polka dots to kind of look like snow falling. Maybe some more snowflakes. And you can see my white crayon because this watercolor paper is a slightly different color. It has a little bit of a light gray, so that makes it easier to see your design. Sometimes when we do white crayon resist on white paper, it can be really tricky to see what we're drawing, but this is a really cool technique to play around with. So I'm gonna just add a few more snow dots falling. Okay, once you have your design ready, and I should have mentioned, you don't need to fill the whole paper because we are gonna cover part of it up. So I just did the top half like that. Once you have your crayon design totally finished, you need your watercolor paints and brush. Something else you'll need to get at home is a water cup and some paper towels. So I'm gonna start by getting my brush nice and wet. And I'm going to start with blue. Now for this part, you can make it any colors you want. You can make it look like a sky. It can be daytime, nighttime, a sunset. It can be crazy colors, anything you want. Look at that. You can see how it's resisting. So what happens is the crayon has wax in it. And when you put the wax down first, anywhere where you put watercolor, the watercolor can't stick to the paper because of the wax. So then it shows your design through. And that's really fun to play with. There's lots of cool techniques you can do with this. I'm gonna actually add a little bit of red, maybe mix it in with my violet and make some red violet. Maybe add some more purple over here. Ooh, that's a fun color. I like what that color did. What color are you using for your sky? That sounds beautiful. I bet it's looking great. Add some blue right here. Okay. Now, I'm just gonna swirl this around a little bit more, have my colors blend. Now that that is really wet, before it dries, I'm gonna take my little baggie of salt. Oops, my marker ran right over my paint. I'm gonna take my little baggie of salt. And this is just normal salt, like what you might have in your kitchen at home. I'm gonna pour some in my hand, make it easier, and I'm just going to shake it or sprinkle it right on top of the watercolor. And what that's gonna do is the salt is gonna take the water and soak it up, and while it soaks up that water, it's also gonna soak up the color from the watercolor paint. And when that happens, it makes a really cool speckly effect when it dries. So now I'm gonna let that dry, and I'm gonna get my other piece of watercolor paper, and I'm going to paint this paper with some sort of fun design. I could do stripes, swirls, anything I want. I think I'm just gonna do some fun, colorful stripes. I'm gonna start with some orange. I I used a lot of cool colors in my sky, so I'm going to use some warmer colors, I think, for this. Use a little bit of orange. Make sure that my brush is staying good and wet. Then I think that I will do maybe I'll do a little bit of yellow. Maybe a stripe of yellow like this. Maybe some green. What I might do is make a bigger stripe of green so that I can mix some blue in and make kind of a blue-green teal color. Let's see what that looks like. So I'm gonna wash my brush and get some blue. Kind of blend those colors into each other. Yeah, look at that blue-green color, that's pretty. And then I think I'll do some red. Kind of let those mix and maybe turn into a little bit of a purple color. And then I think I might add more orange on this side again. How's your watercolor looking? What colors did you pick? Oh, I love those colors too. Okay, so I've got some big stripes and my watercolor is doing some really cool things. Look how they're bleeding into each other and making some really cool sort of tie-dye. So now I need to let this dry. So I'll see you back here in just a bit when my watercolor is nice and dry. All right, artists, my watercolor is good and dry and I've scraped my salt off into the trash can. Look at the cool speckle effect it made. How does your watercolor turn out? I bet it looks awesome. All right, let's finish up the next couple steps. So what we want to do is get our long piece of white construction paper and having it lengthwise or horizontally, I'm going to set it down and I'm going to put my winter scene on top and line up the bottom corners so that I can kind of measure how long I need my first fold to be. So what we're going to do is take our long piece of watercolor paper, construction paper. What we're going to do is take our long piece of construction paper and make an accordion fold. So that's where you make it fold back and forth. So we're going to start by kind of creating a measurement. So I'm going to fold it on top of my winter scene like this so that I can make it the same width, like that. So I have my first fold. Then what I need to do is take the other end and match up corners to corners like this, press down, and now I've got an accordion. From there, I'm going to create a snowy slope. So I want to start in this corner and have it go down low. It doesn't need to go from corner to corner, but you do want it to be a diagonal squiggly line. So I'm going to start in this corner and I'm just going to cut kind of some loose squiggly lines and I'm going to have them go lower and lower as I cut. Like that. So I've got some loose squiggles so that when I fold it up, you can see the different layers like that. Now what I want to do is grab my glue stick and glue it to the back. So I'm going to flip this over and I'm only going to put glue on the very back side like this. This way, I'm going to kind of line up the bottom and the side like this. And I'm gonna open this up so that I can press down on my glue and really get that to stick. Just like that. Now we're gonna use our other watercolor paper to create some things to put on our snow hills. So some things you could think about are trees, buildings, people, snowmen, animals, anything you want. I'm gonna use our book for inspiration. Look at all those wonderful, colorful houses. I'm gonna use that inspiration, and I'm gonna make a couple trees and a couple buildings to put on my snowy scene. Okay, so I've used my watercolor paper to start cutting out different shapes. I've cut out some little triangle trees. I've made some buildings, and I used my leftover white to make some little rooftops. So you might start with a shape like this and then cut out a roof shape to go with it, like what I did with this house. So I'm just gonna start gluing some of my trees and stuff in place. I think I'll have this one go like this. I think I'll have my taller building maybe in the back. So I'm gonna glue this one maybe back here. Push that down. Glue another tree. Maybe right here. And I've got another tree that I think I'll put back here. And I might do one more tree right here. So you can make any kind of designs you want, and what's cool is this folds out and you've got different layers, and you could add extra pictures and things down here. You can even fold it out and add some things back here. And you can use your black marker that came in your box to add some details, like if I wanted to add a door, maybe some windows, maybe a couple windows right here. Maybe I want to add a little bit of like rooftop design. I can add some trunks to my trees. Maybe I'll add a door to this little house back here. Windows, anything you want. Add a little extra design. When you're all finished, then you should be able to stand it up like this and let your really cool winter scene be kind of like a pop-up design. It's also kind of like a storybook. So if you wanted to write a story or add some more character or designs there, you could add these like pages. There's so many options that you can do with this cool little fold-out design. How does yours look? Awesome. I bet it's really cool and interesting. All right, artists. Well, thanks again for making art with me today, and I'll see you next time. Bye.